One of the most common responses to my videos are comments like "submit to Rome" or "why aren't you Roman Catholic?" And so I thought it might be helpful to explain why I am intentionally, not accidentally, Anglican. I appreciate the attempts to recruit me for the other team. I have respect for the Roman Catholic tradition and for the faith and piety of Roman Catholics, but I remain Anglican because of my conviction that to be Roman is to cease to be Catholic. Let me explain briefly what I mean. To be Catholic is to hold on to the whole faith without adding onto it or subtracting from it. And there are two major issues within the Roman tradition that lead to this conviction. The first of which, unsurprisingly, is the papacy. If you look at the original polity of the church, it was conciliar, and this is evidenced in particular by the ecumenical councils, none of which were called by the Bishop of Rome, none of which were presided over by the Bishop of Rome, and only one of which was even attended by a Bishop of Rome. While the Roman See was incredibly important due to its connection with the empire and its role in assisting and defending the faith, papal primacy in the modern sense of the Bishop of Rome having jurisdiction and authority over the whole church is an ahistorical development. And that leads to the second issue, which is, of course, development of doctrine. While the substance of doctrine does not change, if you'll forgive the Aristotelian language, its accidents may. And I think the councils, the first councils of Nicaea and Constantinople, give a good example of this when, in response to the errors of Arius and the Macedonians, who were denying the divinity of the Son and the Spirit, respectively, the church decided to adopt language that previously had not been used and in some cases was forbidden to be used because it had been previously associated with heretical positions. But as the church began to respond to these heresies, the church then canonized this specific way of talking. The substance, the content of the doctrine did not change. We continued to profess the faith of Christ crucified. But the way that we talked about that deposit of faith adjusted. Again, the substance remained, but the accidents were changed. And this is evidenced in particular by things like the Marian dogmas of the Immaculate Conception and her Assumption into heaven, which are not biblical, are not consistently attested to by the fathers, and perhaps most importantly, are not salvation issues. Unlike the articulation that Mary is the Theotokos, the God-bearer, the Mother of God, this is an articulation about who Jesus is, but these others are not gospel issues, and yet the Roman tradition insists that the faithful must hold to these things. And so instead, I implore us to hold fast to the traditions and faith of the church, maintaining a posture of reception, not revision.